Good
morning.
morning. Good morning. I think we are live. I'll just check it. Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
we are live. I'm
yes,
checking on
we are live.
Facebook.
So welcome everyone. Welcome to Life Indeed, the podcast where we discuss about the life the way it is not. So this is the last episode of this month, and we decided that we will start this episode with a Q&A because uh, in second last episode we did the Q&A especially on relationship, and we had a massive response because almost we had 50 to 60 questions live. We were contacted afterwards, and it was so engaging that, in fact, it gave us, me and Piyush, both an opportunity to share our perspective on relationship. And we shared about our relationship, how we matured, how we grew. So it was really, really fun, at the same time a lot of value. And some of you from the audience side asked very, very good questions. And that actually led us to answer those questions and also learn something from you as well, because everybody has unique experience. In continuation to that, we have decided to conduct another Q&A session today as well, but the topic is slightly different and it is going to be more personal. So talking about Life Indeed podcast, as we all know, our audience who knows us, they know who we are, what we do, and why we do. But to those of the audience who may have joined us right now and listening to us for the first time, let me give you a little bit background about Life Indeed podcast. So me and my co-host Piyush, we met 3 years ago on social media, though we are yet to meet in person, and hopefully that will materialize soon. So we started to discuss about a lot of things with respect to personal development, life experiences, and we figured out that we had a lot of commonalities in both of us. And then we figured out that there are a lot of flaws in systems. There are a lot of things that are usually done, that are being done from a lot of time and from the past time, but some of the things does not even make sense and are not even relevant if we think practically. So we thought that why not go ahead and we share our experience, like we have learned a lot of things in from our past experience, and let's go ahead and start a podcast. And we were pretty hesitant about how we are going to do this podcast, because podcast was a new terminology for us and we never did it, to be honest. But we prepared a lot. We thought that how are we going to do the first episode, but somehow we said that let's do it, let's not prepare it. And guess what, the first episode was like impromptu and it happened really, really well. And now today we are into 38th episode, and we have had amazing guests from all across the world who came on this platform and shared their experience, and audience was complete, or they added a lot of value to the audience and they asked good questions as well. So in this episode we decided that we are going to talk about some of the things that we usually do on a day to day basis, and we came up with this idea that we thought that if we will share something that we do on a daily basis, or may we might have certain recommendation that can add value to your life, and you can also start following. But at the same time, because this is reciprocal, you can also share what you do on your daily basis. You are also
Absolutely.
allowed and welcome to share your comment, your thoughts in the comment section, so that we will also share it and I will read it across. So I would like to invite my amazing co-host Piyush and share a bit about what we're going to discuss today and a bit more on how this is going to go till next 1 hour. So over to you, Piyush.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, as always, thanks a lot for that amazing introduction about Life Indeed podcast. And yes, today we are doing our 38th episode, and we are very much excited and happy that we are going through this journey, and we are having a lot of amazing experiences through
Indeed.
this journey of you know like almost 8-10 months, and we are looking forward
Almost
to
10 months.
keep doing it for as much as possible. So yeah, so today's episode is definitely going to be very interesting, and it is going to be the very first time that we will be doing such kind of episode. So we are going to do a recommendation episode, where we are going to talk about the books which we read and which impacted us, our life, the movies we watched, we can also talk about the web series we might have watched. Even we can talk about other podcasts which we listen. So today we are completely going to talk about the, the information processes which we follow, and we are going to recommend some of the, best things which our audience can also, start consuming. And
Yeah.
definitely if we have got so much of benefit out of it, our audience will also get lots and lots of wisdom, insights, and if they are able to implement some of the things, definitely their life is not going to be the same. So yeah, Tosif, so the very first question, before you recommend something, I really want to understand, and I will also talk about mine, that how do you, like, it was earlier that we were not very much self-aware, or we were not conscious about the information which we were putting in our mind. But now with the
Right.
help of this 3 years of journey, you must have also become very conscious, about the information. So in fact, I have seen people who put a lot of junk food in their body, and
Hmm.
ultimately which gets converted into fat or some other things which are not good for the body. But they also do not understand the information also works in the same way. You should not put any random information in your mind,
Correct.
because ultimately what you are putting in going to come out. So what is your process, Tosif? So let's say if you want to read a book, how do you choose? How do you,
Hmm.
I mean, or book or anything like movie or whatever? What's your process?
So I think Piyush, it's a first of all, it's a very good question to start off with. I personally believe that when if I compare myself how I was 3 years back and how I am today, there is one difference, and that fundamental difference is that I have moved from chance to choice. If talking about, like, if I take myself back to my childhood journey, like, we never selected the subject that we wanted to. We never got that. We never got the
True.
college that we wanted to get the admission in. We never got the job that we wanted. So it was, again,
Yes.
we got everything that we never wanted, but it was all by chance. And
Hmm.
it was all driven by external circumstances.
Right.
Because obviously, I had certain family obligations. I had to support my family financially. So I did whatever I got on the journey to support my family. Like,
Hmm.
and the only reason was because I was taking all of my decisions from the zone of fear. I was not operating from my zone of genius. Now, if you talk about myself today, like, just take an example that which book would I like to read. Take an example 3 year back. I would buy any random book, whichever will be recommended by anybody. Like, somebody will say, "Oh, this book is really nice." So I will simply buy this because out of curiosity, not out
Right.
of awareness. But today, what I do, I know where I'm heading to. I
Hmm.
know where I am going and I know where I want to go. So I will take all of my decisions from my future self, from my
Right.
zone of genius or from my zone of awareness. So if I
Right.
have to buy a book, I will see whether this is a fiction, it's a science, it's a book on personal development. Now, within personal development, is it social skill? Is it entrepreneurship? Is it communication? Is it related to something else? So now I have that power of deciding and taking right decisions, and only choose what is required and what is better for me. So, and
Hmm.
this comes over a period of time. This is not a destination, it's a process, it's a journey. And you
Absolutely.
and I've been working with you from last 3 years, and I expect the same from you as well. You would believe that you have also done the same. You have been evolving. Look at the time when you started writing a book for the first time. How were you
Right.
feeling? Now you're on a way to write another book. Now it has become an easy process for you. So
Absolutely.
so I personally believe that when you become more and more self-aware, you move from chance to choice. and that is one of the
Hmm.
good state to have, to be honest. And I would
Interesting.
like to hear from you as well.
Absolutely. I mean, what you said is very valid and very important, you know. So, and one more thing which you highlighted, that from our childhood we have been forced, or we have been, so we are not used to of taking decisions at our own. You know, we don't have choices. It's our parents who is going to decide that which career
Yeah,
you should take, or which sports you need to play, or whatever, so I'm not blaming, or it's how the society works.
correct.
Now it's our duty, once we become adults, or once we become matured enough, we need to develop our self awareness as much as possible. So as Gary Vaynerchuk says, that self awareness is the most amazing superpower one should develop. Because
Correct.
if you are not self aware, you are just going to keep on living the random life, because you are taking random decisions. You are not aware that
True.
where exactly you are heading. It's like, you just come out from your home and you just start walking without even knowing that where you want to reach, what is your destination. You don't even
Hmm.
understand the process. So
Absolutely.
I think it's very important to develop your self awareness. Otherwise, uh, what will happen is, so we have a very limited period of time on this planet earth. The very first and foremost important point we need to understand, and this world has enormous level of knowledge.
True.
This one life is not at all enough, right? If we just keep on reading, or if we just keep on consuming even for 100 years, or let's say for 50 years, we will not be able to consume all the information, right?
Correct.
So that is where self awareness comes into the picture. So you need to understand, as you correctly said, that at this particular moment of your life, what is that one or two things which are essential to learn, which are essential to understand. Accordingly you should consume the content. And that's what I have
Absolutely.
also started doing in my life, that I will not pick any random book. And as you correctly say, that because of the recommendations, I have like more than 20 books which are there, but which I have never touched. I have just
You did not
purchased.
even, you didn't even read.
Yeah, exactly. So those self-help books become
Shelf
self
help.
shelf help. Yeah, it is. Those books are there in my shelf, but I have never touched them. So you need to develop your own process. You need to understand. So I still remember there is this guy in our group who used to, like, who were not able to read more than 5 minutes. And most of the people have this challenges.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
why does it happen? First of all, because you just start reading something which you don't like.
Hmm.
And
And it
that is
happens
where
at
the
the early
problem.
stage of life.
Exactly. And that is where the problem happens. One should directly, you should not directly jump to Robin Sharma, or you should not directly jump to some other people. You might not like that subjects which they are talking about. First, you need to
Hmm.
develop that habit of reading. First, you need to
Correct.
develop that patience of consuming the content. It's a tedious process. It's not an easy thing. Even when we were into school, you need to attend that 1 hour of lecture. It's not easy for everyone. You need to develop that attention span. So
Correct.
first you need to develop those basic things, and after that you should decide your goals, your passion, your purpose. And as you correctly said, keeping your future life in mind, you should plan the content which you are consuming. That should be the
Absolutely. And I
process. And
remember there
I'm
was a time when I was working in my previous MNC. So
okay.
at that time, I was trying to develop the habit of reading.
Hmm.
I have always been a very studious and bright student in my school. I loved reading, writing, and I secure good marks as well. But after I left school, as it is a prevalence that I thought that my education is over. I don't, because I'm a graduate, so I don't need to learn anything. I just need to do a job and earn money. So But there have been very, very few people who actually made me realize that Tosif, you should start reading books. So I remember there was a one guy, young guy from the HR. He met me once. I said to him that when I start reading, it disinterests me. I mean, it doesn't excites me. So he said, "How do you read?" I said, "Because of the fact that I do the night shift, so I open my desktop computer and start reading in any random thing." He said that if you have to start reading and redevelop the habit of reading, you need to have a hard paper book. You know,
Exactly.
get a physical copy of a book and start from there. And when you develop the reading habit from there, then you can move towards digital platform and all. And I think that
Absolutely.
it is important, because if some of you wants to develop the interest of reading, or maybe rediscover or redevelop the reading interest, then you have to start with something physical, something which you can touch, feel. And I was even watching Jim Quick. He said that when you read, please make sure that your finger goes by the words as soon as long, as by the time you're
Hmm.
reading it, all the words is it goes, your finger is going, because it connects that mind muscle. It connects that word with your mind muscle. So there are many things that we can start off with while reading. Take a hard copy of book, and there's also one thing that I have learned, that before reading, because of the fact that we are living in a distracted world today, because
Hmm.
of social media and because of so many other things, you get a lot of distractions, and you take all of your decision based upon those distractions. So in this time, in this era, it is very important to have a commitment, and this is called commitment exercise. So whenever you're doing something that demands your focus, whenever you're going to do something that maybe for the 15 minute, for the 20 minute, that demands your focus, please make sure to have a contract with your mind. You're going to command your mind by saying that, Mr. Dosif or Mr. XYZ, you're going to put your focus for next 15 minutes, and you're not going to get distracted. It is a contract between you and your brain. If you
Yes.
say this to yourself, you will put yourself into deep focus, and you will start reading, doing something that require a deep focus. So this is called commitment exercise. This can be done, and in fact I have been doing it. I have been doing it from last 3 weeks only. And when I say this to myself purposely and deliberately, I keep my focus. I don't think about anything else. So anything that
Interesting.
you do, it's a called deliberate practice. So what do you think, Piyush? What are the prerequisites
Absolutely.
for someone who wants to develop the interest of reading, and who is on an initial journey? What do you say?
See, yeah. So one thing which you said, which is, we most of the people have that kind of mindset that once you are done with schooling, college, let's say graduation, most of the people now started doing masters as well. So once they are
Hmm.
done with their, formal education, they have this, one of the biggest limiting belief, or you can say uh, misconception, prejudices.
Misconception.
Now I know everything, you know. So then people, they literally get fed up, that kid 12 years of schooling, and then let's say
Hmm.
5 years of college. For 17 years you did something, you read a lot of things, and now you are done. So you just want to come out, you just want to feel that freedom, that I don't have to read anything, now I don't want to
Hmm.
learn anything. And actually that is where most of the things, start getting wrong. Because as I'm a very big advocate of evolution process. So how did we evolve? We kept on learning as a
Correct.
as the, our ancestors who used to live in jungle, and now we are living in this modern world. How did we evolve? We kept on learning, we were curious, we wanted to do something new. And that's how we evolved from our ancestors who used to live in jungle, from this modern human beings, right? But now after college, graduation, masters, you stop learning, and when you stop learning, you stop evolving. And when you stop evolving, you just keep you are just living that random
You're just
life.
like
You
a
are
tree and
just
an animal.
exactly. That's the biggest difference between other animals or tree and human beings, because we have that choice to evolve, to keep on evolving. So first you have to develop that mindset that it's okay that I have completed my college, graduation, masters, whatever, but then also I have to read something, then also I have to keep on learning. So that
Correct.
learning attitude should be there. You need to develop that learning mindset, that for lifetime I have to keep on learning. Otherwise, how you will be able to hold that book for, let's say, 1 hour or half an hour on a daily basis, or sometimes you read one book at a go for 4 hours, 5 hours. You will not be able to have that mindset. If you don't have that mindset, you will not be able to hold for that long. So
Absolutely.
Tosif, what do you think? Like, what will be the like recommendations of book if somebody who have not started that journey of reading, which
Hmm.
should be the first book one should? And but as we already discussed, that first they should
Hmm.
try to read something which they interest. They have interest in something. But then if somebody wants to grow, somebody
Hmm.
wants to develop themselves, what will be the books which you will recommend?
So I think when I started reading about books, I did not have this power and the capability to choose and decide which book should I read. It was only because I had this shallow sense that yes, I want to develop myself, I want to improve my personality, but that was a very shallow sense. I didn't have a deep sense of, okay, this is where I want to head, this is what I want to become, so I need to choose this book. But today I have a couple of things. I would like to share my screen and I would show a website to the audience, and that the name of that website is 2000books.com. The speciality about that website is that it will give you certain options, and you choose those options based upon your interest, and then it will give you certain categories. Go into that categories, and then it will recommend you those books which to read, and it will also give you the summary. So this information is
Okay.
freely available. However, if you want to take their subscription, they can help you in a lot of other ways as well. So I would love to share my screen right now to the audience and open that website in front of everyone. This is something that I learned from one of our family member itself. So screen is visible?
Yeah, yeah, visible.
So I'll open the Google. So this website is 2000books.com. Here we go. So when you open this website, it gives entrepreneurs to join the club as well. However, if you just scroll down, see it says get hundreds of book summaries on. Let's say that you want to improve your productivity. Let's say you want to improve your social skill. You want to improve your mental toughness. You want to achieve goals. You want to increase your self confidence. So I will take an example. Let's say somebody is not very productive and they want to improve their productivity. So I'll click on productivity. Now under productivity, it will give you option like what how you want to be productive by increasing your brain performance, by developing a deep focus, by developing new habits, or you want to overcome distractions, you want to be more productive, you want to develop routines and rituals, you want to have strategy and you want to leverage it, you want to manage time. Let's say you want to manage times, click on times. Now as soon as you click on times, it will give you several other books on time managements only. This is
Mm.
the first page. If I click on second page, other books, time management. So this way, this website actually, whosoever has developed it, it gives you an opportunity, an option to actually choose the book which excites you and using which you can develop your skills.
Mm.
So hope this is helpful for our audience. I would like to stop sharing my screen right now. Okay, so I'll
Your
turn on my
video.
camera.
Yeah,
Yeah, 1 second. I'll turn on my camera actually. So when I shared my screen, I think it switched.
I think your camera is switched. Yes.
It is not giving me the option to select my
You
other
have to
camera.
get go into
Yeah,
cam
one
and
second.
mic.
Yeah,
Ken
yeah,
and
that's what I'm
slash,
doing. That's what I'm
slash
doing.
Mike.
Yes, Piyush, you can continue. Talk about
So
it
Abhishek
meanwhile.
is saying very informative. Thanks a lot, Abhishek Anand. We will share a lot of other things, like this. So it's a very
Thank you,
interesting
Abhishek.
website, and people should check out. So here, I mean, that's a very amazing tool. One should, go through it.
Yeah.
But here I have a little different perspective when it comes to
Hmm.
choosing a book. And we always discuss, we always have conversations,
Yeah.
right? I think it's really good that we have, this kind of website. But I think at the same time, uh, instead of taking some, so ultimately it is going, we are also sharing recommendation, but then also
Correct.
I will advise everybody that you also need to have your own choice. You also need to understand your own
Absolutely.
self. Nowadays there is
That's the
a,
primary thing.
yeah, exactly, concept of uh like diet, healthy diet, and everybody try to search on Google. But now the point is, if something has worked for you, it will not work for me.
True.
Even in terms of diet also, if some foods are good for your body, those foods are not necessary they will good for my body as well. You need to understand your body, and accordingly you have to finalize your diet. You just cannot copy someone's diet. So likewise, in terms of book also, first, the very first book, take any, as per your choice, whatever you like to read, take one book. Like, you can go through this kind of website and take that one book. But by
Yeah.
reading in that process, you also need to observe yourself. You need to, try to become self aware as much as possible, that am I liking this book or not, am I, enjoying this or not. What is it, is it that book which is, because ultimately you will be able to develop that relationship with the book. And it is also not necessary that every book which you pick you need to finish. If in the first or second chapter itself, if you are not getting connected, if you are not able to develop that relationship with the book, it's not necessary that you have to finish that book. You keep aside that book, you take another book. So likewise,
Absolutely.
what will happen is you will be able to develop your unique thought process.
So I think
So
one of the things that I
first,
would like to add
yeah,
here, Piyush, sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
is we need to figure this out, that why we want to read a book. So it's one of the
exactly,
fundamental questions that we need to ask to ourselves, that okay, if even if I want to read a book, so what is it that I want to learn? So if your answer
exactly.
is you want to improve your communication, if your answer is that you want to you have a habit of, so I think any book that we are reading, we are actually addressing a problem. So, what is that problem? You got to define what is exactly that problem that is troubling you, and you want to eliminate or mitigate that problem by reading something, by acquiring a knowledge. So, the reason why we read book is because we want
Yeah,
to
you
acquire knowledge.
exactly. You have to decide the cause. So, do you
Yeah,
want to learn a skill? Do you want to acquire some, knowledge, or sometimes, you need that perspective. So, even in my personal experience, I have got a lot of perspective by reading books. So, why somebody should
absolutely.
read someone's autobiography? Because you will get a lot of perspective. Of course, you will learn a lot of things, but you will get lots and lots of perspectives. So by reading, by consuming content, you are getting perspectives from which you might have not thought. So books, podcast, movies, web series, whatever form of content you are consuming, you need to understand this fundamental, that ultimately it is helping you to uh, you know strengthen your perspective.
Correct. And in
So
fact, Piyush, I would like to take examples from you. One of the recent example that, as you all know, that this world, this age is an information age, and there is, analogy of analysis and paralysis. So, of late, the one book that, in fact, I have made one video as well. That work is Deep Work, written by Carl Newport. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this, because I want to discuss the mindset. Why did I choose this book? So, And I'll also share how did I choose this book and why did I choose this book. So the number one reason, there has been a problem. Like, of course, we are on social media. So at times I found myself that if I am doing something which is important, not urgent, so doing some important activity, I got a notification. Oh, well, let me check. Is it a message from my boss? Is it something that is important? So it's, you get distracted while you're doing something important. And at
See,
times, when you're obsessed of checking your cell phone, it becomes very, very problematic, and you can't even control yourself, and this become an autonomous habit. However, this is not good. So I was reading this books from somewhere. I just was got a recommendation from where said that this book is really important. It gives you some tips and tricks to actually develop the deep focus. And I think this is one of the rare habit if somebody can develop in this information age. So then it triggered me, it made me curious. Let me try and read this book. It might give me some perspective, it might give me some knowledge that I can implement in my real life. So that was my reason. How did I do it? Because obviously this was one of my problem. Though, and it keeps on happening. It's a very iterative issue. So at times I found myself very focused. At times I find myself into a complete flow, but at times I get distracted. And it is very natural because we all are human. So I
of
thought that
course.
let's address this problem. So that was the reason, and that's how I decided that I will buy this
Perfect.
book. And when
Perfect.
I started reading this book, it gave me a lot of perspective. Of course, if you are having the similar problem, of you get a lot of distraction and you're not able to focus on something which is important, then should go ahead and read this book. So start with a problem. What is it, that one problem that you are actually facing or you want to solve? And if you think that you can solve that problem by acquiring a knowledge from the book, go and do it. Read it and you try to implement it. Elon Musk ने तो रॉकेट बना दिया बुक पढ़ के. So we all can do it. So I
Right.
think we have got some comments, beautiful comments from people. Naushad Sheikh is saying, absolutely agreed. Raghavendra Bhatt, reading book had tremendous impact in my life. It helped correcting my blind spot, which normally we don't correct by public opinion. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You would like to add, Piyush?
Yeah, of course. I mean, see, it's very important to understand that why you want to read a book, that cause, that why, and that's what the reason. You know, the very important book first. Most of the people should read, which is one of our favorite books, is Start with Why
Yeah,
by Simon
absolutely.
Sinek. You need to understand the
One of
importance of why, because in your life if you are not able to ask this question, that why you are living the life which you are living, you need to ask why very very frequently. You have to keep on asking. You need to find that one reason which is stronger enough to keep you going. Most of the people look for this answer of how to keep yourself motivated. Now, why most of the people are not self motivated? Because they don't have that required why, they don't have that strong why, they don't have that
true.
purpose. And once you are able to find the purpose behind everything, whatever you are doing in your life, you will become unstoppable. You will not require any external motivation, or you will not require any other things in your life. You will get into that zone where you will start doing everything which is required. So I already recommended that one should read that Start with Why book, written by Simon Sinek. A must read, a must book, which everybody should read, because until unless you will not be able to understand the importance of why, you will not be able to do anything in your life, whatever. Where when it comes to as we already discussed, whether it is about putting food in your mouth, which is going to
Hmm.
help your body to nourish, or whether that one
Information
information
to your
which you are
mind.
putting. So if you can develop that habit of asking why by while doing everything, you will be able to develop a lot of superpowers.
Definitely. And I think I have one more analogy that we always usually discuss regarding if you put kerosene oil instead of petrol in a bike, the engine will not function properly. It
Absolutely,
will
absolutely.
malfunction. Similarly,
Yeah,
what you have to be very careful about what you put into your mind.
absolutely.
You know, good, bad, ugly, whatever you put, it will become the same way. And as you all know that your mind is the main organ and the most important organ in your body, and if you are able to direct it in a right way, it will direct your life in the right way. So Piyush, I would like to ask you, what was the first book that you read? And I know I think you are a very die-hard fan of Robin Sharma. So what was that first book, and how did you actually develop that interest of reading? So
Uh,
would like to know something
See,
on that.
I have been a very avid reader from since childhood only. But of course, when I was a child, I was reading. I used to read like comic books, and some science fiction stories. Most of the things which I read was in either in Gujarati or Hindi, because I have never got into that zone of reading some English literature. So I had that reading habit and I love reading. So that was something where I have never faced any challenges, because it was something natural. It has come very natural. Um
Hmm.
so I had this habit of reading. I kept on reading so many things, like starting from. Uh, as I'm coming from a Gujarati uh, school background. So, hello.
Apologies, Piyush.
Yeah,
Something,
you are
some
something
issue with my
went wrong,
laptop
I think.
actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really fine, really fine. Yeah, so what I
Yeah.
was saying is, I had this habit. And so likewise, when I was into my college, when I get into degree, it was all in English, so I had to develop that reading habit of English as well. And then I have started reading a lot of English things, and where I have started is reading uh, English newspaper. And sometimes it's not you who choose the book, but sometimes the book chooses you.
Book chooses,
And
yeah.
the same thing happened with me as well. The very first self-help, self-development book which has impacted me a lot, which has chosen me. I have not, I didn't choose that book, but it has come. Even I still don't remember that how did I get into that particular book, which is called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. But I have somewhere, I heard about that book so many times from so many people. And
Hmm.
I used to visit, I still remember, I used to visit this one particular book fair, which every year it happens in my city. And that is where also everywhere I read this title. And this title itself intrigued me a lot. The
Hmm.
Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which is so much contradictory. If you are a monk, you don't have to do anything with Ferrari, and if you have a Ferrari, you don't have to anything to do with like monkship, right? So the title itself, and at that particular time I didn't know who Robin Sharma is, but this title intrigued me a lot. So sometimes, book chooses you. And likewise, I read that
True.
my first ever book, and that book completely changed my perspective. It has, like literally opened up my mind that this is also uh, like one of the most important aspects of life, which I have never taught, which I have never, nobody told me, nobody taught me, nobody even I never discuss about this thing with anyone in my life.
Hmm.
But that was the book which opened up all those windows, all those. It literally shift my paradigm. So
Awesome,
it's
man. I
about,
mean,
you need to keep on looking, you, as I said
correct.
that. And I have this curiosity mind from, you know till, like I'm 40 plus, but till I have this curiosity that I need to keep on learning new things. So it is also very important that you have to develop, as I already said, that you need to develop that learning mindset, curiosity mindset. And then that book, I came across that book, and it changed my complete life.
Amazing. And I think Robin Sharma, without a doubt, is one of the amazing
Absolutely.
author who has written so many books. Uh, and I think I can resonate with what you said, Piyush, when you said that at times the book, you don't choose the book chooses you, and it is pretty much right. So I remember when I was actually developed the habit of reading. So I was into people management role. So it requires a lot of self awareness, a lot of leadership skills for you to actually manage people, because it's easy to work something if you have to work on your own, but it is not never easy to basically get the work done from other people. And that's where your mindset plays a lot of role, the mental toughness, the leadership skill, the communication skills. So you know I was just scribbling through the web Amazon, and I was thinking which book should I read. And to be honest, it was a very, very random decision. So that title intrigued me. Attitude is everything. That red book written by Jeff Keller. I didn't know what it was, but that word attitude. And I think I never had an attitude problem, but I wanted to develop, I wanted to improve and evolve on my attitude, because as a leader, you need to have a great attitude. So I thought, let's start reading this book. I just bought it. And you know what? I thought 4 to 5 times whether to buy this book or not. I was so
Exactly. I think
reluctant in investing that amount into myself. Today,
this
if
is
you ask me, I
also a
invest
very
without
big
hesitation.
problem. This
Yeah,
is also a very
I
big
thought so
problem
many times
actually.
whether I should invest into it or not, because 145 rupees, why should I waste? It required a mindset. But when I bought it, when I read it, you would not believe, Piyush, my entire attitude has was actually changed, because it talked about the words that you use has a lot of impact on your life, the way you should behave with the people, you know even down to the thing like if somebody asks you how are you, and I'm telling you this reality. Even today there are a lot of people in the corporate, if you ask them how are you, they simply say not too bad, getting there. But Jeff Keller says that when somebody asks you, say this: I'm doing fabulous, I'm doing fantastic.
Absolutely.
When you say this, you are actually impressing your mind and saying that you're actually
Absolutely.
fabulous and you will become fantastic in your life. So
So as you said that, when you saw that book, the title itself was "Attitude is
yeah.
Everything," but you only say that you never had that attitude problem. But that's what something, a limiting belief or something, you know,
Yeah.
we feel that I don't have anything to do with this particular topic. I'm
Hmm.
good, I'm good in this, or I don't have this problem. But when you actually read, when you actually consume some, that's what we were talking about, that books or the movie or whatever content you are consuming, it will help you to develop a new perspective. So it's just not that if you have attitude problem you should read that book.
Hmm.
The
You
perspective
can
is,
evolve.
you should, if you can evolve, and you can get ahead, or you can develop a completely new level of attitude.
I
So
love a
you,
quote. Someone said that reading can seriously damage your ignorance.
yes, absolutely, absolutely, I mean that's very interesting, very interesting. And
So I
that's
mean,
actually true, that's actually
it
true.
actually it actually dissipate and dispel the fog that is in front of you. And a lot
Absolutely.
of so we most of the time we know what we don't know what we don't know. That's
Exactly.
called unconscious incompetence.
Yeah.
So obviously there would be a lot of things that we don't know, we never have experienced. But when we read, when we meet new people, when we go to seminar, when we attend podcast, when we listen to other good people, we develop new perspectives, and our zone of perception gets widened. And that is the reason books gives you a lot of new perspective. And that, as Piyush also said, that you know you learn and you evolve while you read books, because it gives you a lot of
Exactly.
experience. And to be honest, an author puts his blood and sweat, hours and hours of time, effort, thinking. It requires a lot of mental capability. Piyush knows it better. in order to prepare that one book. And I've heard it from Piyush that
Absolutely.
it is just like carrying a baby and delivering a baby when you write and publish a
Absolutely.
book.
Absolutely.
So, so imagine that, nobody will provide a shallow information in the book. If an author is writing a book, imagine the level of information that he would share, and he would share it from his heart. So that
So
is the reason, as a quote goes by, that if you want to develop new habits and skills, read books which are 100-year old. They are still relevant.
yes, there are books. So I believe a lot of people are commenting some, putting some amazing
Yeah, yeah.
comments. So uh, I'm actually not able to pronounce her name. I'm really sorry, Miss H. I will call you. So power is in science. No one else can dominate anyone without science. Yeah, absolutely. Like everywhere, the science is there. Thanks a lot for commenting. Tosif, currently, which book you are reading?
I'm reading. So basically, recently I have decided one thing that, and in fact, I found it very interesting.
Hmm.
The latest book that I'm reading is Deep Work, but I have also decided that I would like to reread my previous books, because every time I read the books that I have already read, it actually freshen up my memory. And
Yes,
one difference that I have figured out is that when I talk, it gives me a lot of thought process. It gives me a lot of
substance.
things that I can
Basically, it gives
substance
you a
that
lot
I
of
can talk. Yeah, yeah.
substance.
It
Yes,
gives you a lot me a lot of substance. So when you
and in
reread a book,
fact,
and that's when you get more closer
yes,
to it.
and in fact, it is actually advisable. So, any book which has impacted you in any manner, you should read that book after, like, let's say 1 year or 2 years or 3 years down the line. You should reread it, because when you will read that book second time, you will be able to observe, or you will be able to learn new things which you were not able to grasp when you read that book first time. In fact, it is very much true also, uh, in in terms of like movies or in terms of other podcast as well. So I keep on listen to those podcasts and movies which has impacted me a lot. I watch them like every 1 year or 2 years. I revisit them. Uh, so you will be able to develop new level of perspectives, because you also evolve. You will not remain the same person after reading that
Definitely.
book. So when you are reading that book one more time, you are not the same person. So it is also
Definitely. And
advisable that
Piyush,
you
would you
should.
like to talk
Yeah.
about some of the web series? Obviously, so to be honest, this is one area of opportunity for me where I want to develop my interest into watching the web series. But of course, because I'm not very much aware about which web series to watch and which to not, and fortunately and unfortunately, I couldn't manage to get the time as well. But I would like to have your recommendation. Like, you have watched a lot of web series which are useful. So would you be able to recommend few web series which somebody can watch to develop their communication skills, to develop that mindset and resilience? So anything, something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So now here the point is, as we already discussed, that why you need to understand, you need to ask yourself that why you want to read something, why you want to watch something. When
True,
it comes to like watching a movie or web series, so when you are actually reading a book, you have to put efforts. So both are
true.
like completely different processes, but in the both processes you will be able to gain some knowledge, you will be able to develop some new perspectives. But
Hmm.
why most of the people avoid reading books is because it takes a lot of patience. You have to put your heart and soul, you have to focus. And as we
Focus and
already.
thinking is the most hardest things.
Exactly. And as we already discussed that after 17 years of education, most of the people start running away
Hmm.
from reading. But when it comes to web series, movies, or the content which are like audio visual content where you don't have to
Yeah.
do anything, of course you have to focus, of course you have to watch. But in the process of watching a movie, web series, or any type of audio visual content, you don't have to like put a lot of efforts. So
True.
it is also a very good way of learning, but at the same time, you also need to understand that why you are watching that particular movie or that web series. You need to understand that. So I have literally stopped watching any kind of random entertainment movies or web series. So even while deciding, it takes me like 10 to 15 minutes that whether I'm going to watch this or not, because ultimately I'm going to invest my 1 or 2 hours of my life
Hmm.
time into watching that. Of course I will have some that dopamine while watching those web series and movies, but ultimately my time will be gone.
Absolutely.
So I have a process that I do a lot of research before even start watching any movie or a web series. So if I talk about like web series which I have watched, even I have watched very limited numbers of web series, but every web series I have watched with a purpose. So if I recommend some of the good web series which I have watched are like the uh, one I would love to recommend is House of Cards, which is
Okay.
based upon the political game behind U.S. presidentialship.
Hmm.
It is, I always love to understand that how the politic works, and you there is no other better way to understand politics from the most powerful nation itself. So what exactly goes behind that US presidentialship is there in House of Cards, that at what extent people are ready to go to become president, or how they are able to sustain, and
Do
how
they talk
what
about some of the backstage things that people don't usually
it is
experience or see in the
all the
news?
backstages. It is all backstage. It is all backstage.
Okay.
That
Hmm.
so when you are, it's like when you are watching a movie, you will not be able to understand that how they are doing shooting, right?
Hmm.
Because when you watch a shooting for 1 minute of
It's a
shot,
final product.
it takes like entire one day. It's a very tedious
Hmm.
process.
True.
So when you are watching US president, you will not be able to understand that how much pain he must have gone through to become US president. So that is
Hmm.
what it shows. And you will be
Okay.
able to get a lot of perspective that if you want to become a leader, you have to, sometimes you have to be brutal, sometimes you have to be shrewd, sometimes you have to be kind, but ultimately you are a human being. And being a human being, how you can develop, if you want to become a leader like US president,
Hmm.
what kind of qualities you have to develop in yourself.
And I think this is one of the really, really nice series because
I
if
mean,
it can gives you
really
that
amazing.
perspective, like you will become a superhuman
Unbelievable.
almost.
Unbelievable. I mean, very amazing series. Lot of, I
Is
mean,
it available on
not,
Netflix or where?
yeah, it is. Most of the things I'm going to recommend are on Netflix itself, because
Hmm.
I'm not watching any other platforms other than Netflix, because it gives you the world perspective, and now I'm
Hmm.
in the process of developing that world perspective. I just don't
Hmm.
want to keep myself restricted or limited
Limited.
to my local or national level perspective. I want to develop that international perspective. That's why I'm watching a lot of, not only like American content, but I have started watching a lot of Japanese content, South Korean content as well.
So do they have all these web series available from all different parts of the world?
Yes, yes, yes. So Netflix is the most amazing platform where you will be able to find some amazing and some like mind blowing content from
Hmm.
across the globe, from across the globe. So I have watched
And I
this
think one of
one
the
more.
Piyush, one of the fundamental thing that when you watch web series and especially when you watch web series from different countries, different part of the world, it helps
Hmm.
you to develop the awareness of culture. You actually learn the
Right.
culture of the other part of the world, the other countries,
Exactly.
and it is
Exactly.
very important.
Exactly. Exactly. So I have watched this South Korean web series which is called Messiang. I
Okay.
think it says that incomplete life or something. It's a South
Hmm.
Korean series, web series.
Hmm.
So it is based upon, I will recommend whoever into corporate culture, and if somebody is not into corporate culture and they want to understand that how corporate culture works, they should watch this series called Messian.
Hmm.
So beautifully they have, considered each and every aspect of corporate culture. And the most beautiful thing is they have the entire web series is centered into like human elements.
Hmm.
So if I just give you one example, so there is this one particular episode, there is one particular scene where the boss of a team, like he's a sales manager, and as a sales manager he has to be like strong, he has to manage his team.
Hmm. True.
So in office he is conducting a meeting where he is very strong, scolding his team, telling them to achieve the targets. And when he actually returned to his home, in home, like he has a small baby to whom he has to take care. So that same person who is there in the office, who is very strong and very, very kind of person with whom people do not like to talk because he is a very
Hmm.
strict personality, is the same
Correct.
person who is taking care of baby at night in at 2 a.m.
Hmm.
So this particular web
Just
series
this
has
very paradoxical.
shown all these human elements, and that
Hmm.
is what I think the missing
Link.
link, where most of the people believe that this corporate people are like robots, they
Piyush
don't even
Mohammed is
understand.
saying something on web series itself. He's saying, being a voracious reader, I spent most of the time reading Shakespeare, the Bard of Avon. I am also interested watching the British series of Sherlock Holmes.
Of
I
course,
completely go
it's a
through the
very good
works
series.
of Joan Austen, E.M. Forster, complete works of Shakespeare, Harry Potter series. I watched the Outlander, Game of Thrones, Viking, The Last Kingdoms, Downtown Abbey, Money Heist, House of Cards. Wow. Thank you
Yes,
so much,
absolutely.
Mohammed Dean Khan, for sharing. In fact, this is something that I also want to, develop something like I want to also develop my world perspective. So it's important for me to even watch these series. And some of my people have actually recommended Money Heist, so would definitely like to catch up on. And he's saying that I appreciate both of you doing such tremendous and altruistic job in order to be in touch with us and such busy life masterpiece. Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much,
Mohammed for
Mohammed.
you to actually contributing and not just watching but sharing your thoughts and you know
Absolutely, we really
thanks a lot.
appreciate.
And
Mr. Yeah, sorry.
Mr. I'm sorry about that. Cannot pronounce the
We
name
are
correct.
really sorry, man, and we are so much happy. We are so much blessed that,
Yeah, blessed that
I
we
mean,
have so
from
wider
so many
audience.
countries, people have started, joining us from last 1 month. It's really overwhelming, actually. When we started our podcast, we have never imagined that a lot of, like, we will be having this kind of different uh, spectators, audience
Absolutely.
from different parts of the not country but world itself. So
Yeah,
Tausif,
we had
definitely,
people from all the countries.
yeah,
Yeah,
so there are so many recommendations, but as I said, that you need to understand that what exactly you want to. It's like if
correct.
I recommend one more web series which is called The 100. The
Hmm.
100 is a story of 100 people. So the
Hmm.
background of that web series is, our world is like, completely devastated because of some scientific experiment, or because of some, pollution. Our world is like the earth is like devastated. Now it
Hmm.
is not uh, the kind of earth where we can survive as human beings. So based upon the science, we were able to develop a technology that we have started living in the space. So it is
Hmm.
talking about that era, and
Hmm.
there are like only limited people are living in the space. And
Hmm.
now this people, after 100 years, they are sending 100 people to this planet earth, to check that now what is the situation on earth,
Okay.
and
That is very interesting.
then they go through some like unbelievable level of experiences. So
Hmm.
just imagine, if you can. So when you are like reading a book, or when you are having a conversation, I don't think so that you will be able to develop this kind of perspective. So every piece of content can give you different level of perspective.
True. Very
So
honest, to
it's
be
not
honest.
about that that movies and web series are like waste or useless. It's up to you that what
What
are
you
you
watch?
consuming and what do you
Yeah.
want out of it. So I can give like n number of like lot of recommendations in terms of web series. I
I
have
think I will
watched
have
this.
to. We will have to do a single episode on web series only. Let me
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
couple of
yeah.
more, then I will also be able to talk.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I
Mohammed is
watched this
saying something.
German series.
Hmm.
I mean, it is
Okay.
called Dark. So
Okay.
dark is something like you have to apply your mind so much. It's like solving a puzzle. It's like
Hmm.
solving a mathematical formula. So normally most of the people watch any like movie or web series just for the sake of entertainment.
True.
But this dark movie will challenge your thought process, that how it is happening. So you will
Hmm.
be able to stretch your mind. Why do we do exercise?
Hmm.
Because we want to develop muscle.
True.
So in the same process, if you are watching something which is giving you entertainment, you will not be able to develop your thought process. You will not be able to develop that muscle of your mind. So such kind of web
That's very
series
nice.
will challenge you.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I think when you watch different series, different, I remember I watched a web series on Steve Jobs, and in fact,
Yes,
Steve Jobs had very highs and lows in his life. In fact, there was a scene where I had almost tears in my eyes. So I don't usually watch movies and web series out of my curiosity and interest, that it doesn't lie there. But every time I watch any such movie or any biography, I am able to relate my life with their life. Like, what can I
exactly.
do? What can I do
That's what
learning
the
from
point
this?
is.
What can
That's
I
what the point
change from
is.
this? So I think your objective to watch any movie, your reason to watch any web series is very important. And as soon as you get into this, then try and implement. And I'm sure, Piyush, whatever you're talking about here is, and when you are talking about any web series, you're so confidently sharing it because you have those experiences and perspective getting assimilated in yourself. And that is
True.
the reason. So I think that's really important. And Muhammad
and
is
and
saying
and
something
one
here.
more thing is, there are
Yeah.
so many forms of like content. So you
Hmm.
know so I am 40 plus, but just 1 year ago I came to know that there is uh, a completely new type of content is available, which is called anime.
Hmm.
So anime is a Japanese form of it is, you can say, it is a animated web series, you can say.
Hmm.
It is not a web series where there are real like actors and actresses are working. It's an animated web
It's
series,
an
you can say.
animated characters, animated and
Yeah,
all.
but it is a completely different genre altogether,
Okay.
where they take any random concept which you just cannot even imagine, which you just cannot even think. So
Hmm.
currently I have started watching, like I'm watching this second anime. One which I watched was called Death Note. So that note is a so the it has a very simple storyline. That note is about a note where if you put any random person's name, he will die in next 10 minutes.
Ferocious.
So just imagine, if
Hmm.
you have that
Imaginary.
kind of power, if you have that kind of power, what you will do in your life, or how your thought process, how your attitude will be changed, and nobody will
Hmm.
know. that person has died because of you.
You.
Nobody will be able to understand.
But again, how you think in this,
In this
process while you
situation,
were
if
in this
suppose if you
situation,
have,
like,
if suppose you put yourself in that character, that if you have that book, that note, if you have
hmm,
that, how you will behave.
correct, correct.
And the second
Would you like
anime
to
which
kill
I'm
anyone?
yes, how your thought process will work.
Hmm.
So second anime which I'm watching currently is called, as I'm a very big fan of superhero, so the anime is my hero academia, actually it is called. So my hero academia is a story about a world where superpowers have become like normal thing.
I mean, everybody has acquired a superpower.
Everybody have acquired superpowers, like suppose you have
Hmm.
superpower, so you will be able to pass on to your kid.
Hmm.
So now this superhero have become a legit profession itself.
Hmm.
You can become like the, if let's say you want to become an engineer, doctor, in the same way you can become a hero, and you will be
Hmm.
acquired by agencies, companies, to do
To
superhero
execute that
things.
job, superhero thing.
Exactly.
And
So
Piyush,
this,
I will not be surprised that, see, now we have flying cars, we have vehicles which can run in all conditions. Soon, I'll not be surprised when we are able to develop those machineries or technologies by which will enable
absolutely,
them people to become superheroes.
absolutely, absolutely.
Right? Whatever we see in movies, like what's going to happen in 2030 or 2050, it is a reality and it will happen.
And what intrigued me a lot is, what inspired me a lot is, there is this person in this world itself who can think at this level,
Yes,
where I am at this level. I have never thought about this. Even I don't have that level of
perspective
capability,
and thinking. Yeah,
perspective and thinking. And then there are people who are thinking, not only thinking,
there
but
are
they are
people who are
executing as well.
who are thinking of settling people on Mars. Just imagine, we can never
Just
think about it.
imagine, just imagine. I mean, Interstellar, take an example of the
Yeah,
movie called Interstellar. So Interstellar is a movie like this Nolan. I mean, he is an amazing person. So it's a story about that our Earth is not like, you have to find another planet where you we need to live. And
hmm,
then these are the people who are in the search of finding that one more
planet.
Earth where we can shift. It's a story about that, Interstellar.
Hmm.
I mean, just
Wow.
imagine, it's a thought, but then how you will execute it, how you will
And I
show
think
that, how
movies
this.
movies are always made when there is an idea and when there is an
Absolutely.
analogy. There is no
Yes.
movie without a story, without a thought. So just
You have to
imagine that if they
think.
have that kind of a movie, then imagine the level of their thinking and the level of where
just
they are going
just
to.
imagine just imagine the kind of conversation they must be having while having discussion about the ideas, and then compare your conversations with your, whatever you call, like your friends, your colleagues. I always have
Absolutely.
this feeling that where am I still
Hmm.
have a long way to go. I need to reach to this level. It
True.
always gives you another benchmark to achieve.
I
I
think
mean,
Muhammad is
Mohammed is
saying.
writing very big comments.
uh, I am agree with your point of view. That's all up to us that we can go through any piece of cinema or books, how we perceive it. As mostly people watch movies of Sherlock Holmes just for self pleasure. But what I learned from Sherlock Holmes, that how to make a plan before going to explore about any
Eh,
mystery, how
Amazing,
to be cool in
amazing.
critical condition, how to be smart and give our ears to listen to problems, how to be rational instead of emotional, especially when life gives us lemon. How
How we can make.
make it. Absolutely, and such a fantastic. So it's our perspective. How, so there are different ways of looking at single thing, and how you look at it actually,
Yes.
differentiates all. And Piyush, I think I'm conscious about time. We have already crossed 15 minutes,
Yeah, 10
and
minutes we are
we didn't
ahead
even
of our
realize.
time.
I think It's I will make sure that we will do an episode especially on web series,
Yeah, yeah, sure,
because you
sure.
have
I'd
so much to
love
talk.
to.
I figured out that you have so much of information to share, and that will definitely help people. So we will do that, and I would like to spend 2 more minutes to have questions from the people if they have any, and then we will wrap up.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Piyush, do you think that this 10 o'clock time is, okay to go ahead, or shall
Yeah,
we
but I
keep it
mean,
to our 11?
let's ask to our audience, to
Yeah,
who, like, whoever is watching right now or whoever is going to watch later on, please let us know in the comments below that we are planning to shift our podcast timing from 11 a.m. to 10 a.m. So what's your perspective, what's your feedback about that, and accordingly we will take the decision.
yeah.
Yep.
We would like to hear from all of you people who is watching us, or who may be watching us in might watch us in the future and can come back to us. It takes much. Okay, Pravat Rajan Behera, he is saying that it takes much conditioning and daily practices with people with higher levels of energy and perception to reach higher. No doubt about it. I
Absolutely.
think it's a very good perspective. Piyush, you would like to add on to this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it takes much conditioning and daily practices, as we already, we are a very big advocate that everything is a process. You just cannot, do something once and you start expecting the result out of it. So everything is a practice. You have to. So it's just not about that one book. It's just not about that one movie. Yeah, there are, like, sometimes it pushes you. Sometimes it can give you that required kick, that
Definitely.
if you are watching a movie, it will give you some required perspective which you are looking at that particular moment of time, but then you have to keep it rolling, you have to keep the momentum going on. So it's a
True.
process. So
True.
Pravat is saying nice perspectives to share. Kudos to all. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot for joining. We really appreciate.
Yeah.
So
And
Tausif, we
thanks
are
to everyone.
almost.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who has joined today and asked amazing
Yep.
questions and
On Facebook as
contributed
well, like Sunita
with their
Gupta
lovely
has joined
process.
us, and
Thanks a lot. Hope,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. On Facebook, she's my Masi. She always
okay.
joins whenever I am on live. So
Thank you so much.
thankful to her. She's just like my mom. So thanks everyone for joining. And it has
Thank you
been
so much,
an amazing
guys.
conversation today and interaction today. Yeah. So we would see you next week with renewed energy and with some guest, hopefully. And we would have another
We have
beautiful
some
conversation.
interesting guests
Thank
lined
you.
up,
Take care.
so stay tuned.
To see you.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye
Yeah.
bye. Take care.
Bye, everyone.